Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. Here's to hoping fifth time's the charm. I have recorded this episode a couple times today. One was like 20 minutes and it didn't feel like me. So I stopped. But you know, it is what it is. Life's hard sometimes. I feel like I have some things to say this week. I do want to say, first of all, I am going out with my friends. I'm recording this episode early. It's like Friday at like 1:50 a.m. Probably not the best idea for me to be recording this episode before having to wake up early for work, but we're here. I'm committed to the cause. I'm committed to the podcast. I'm committed to the promise that I made to myself that I would post on this podcast every week. And I just didn't want to like do it later because then I'm going to be upset with myself if I like record it Saturday when I come home. And there's no chance that I'm recording that Saturday when I come home. Like if I go out with my friends, like it's just not happening. Anyways, but I do want to congratulate my friend Alani. She'll probably never listen to this episode. But I want to congratulate my friend Alani on, sorry, this is mad loud. Okay. I want to congratulate my friend Alani on graduating college. Like me and my friends were all done for the most part. Like the core four of us that met at Georgia State, we have graduated and I'm just so proud of all of us. Like we really worked hard and did what we need to do and we ate that. Yeah, we ate that. Sorry, I'm going to turn this up a little bit just because I just want to be seeing the waves, even though I can't see the waves. Anyways, I have something to say. That's what it is. Yeah. I made this podcast, and my intention for this podcast is to really just like, I enjoy connecting with people. I do that my goal is to do that through music. I make content and stuff, obviously. And then, what is the other thing I do? Oh yeah, work. My job is like connecting with young people and stuff like that. And so I really enjoy that and I get a lot of fulfillment from that. But my other intention with this podcast is to like, life is hard, like acknowledging that life is hard and, we all go through struggles. And so I come on here for personal therapy, yes, but it's also to just remind people that we're all going through this together. Like all of our struggles don't look the same and I may not share every single struggle on here, but we're all struggling and it's okay. Like everything's going to be okay. Like we're going to be okay. And, but something I do want to share, there's a certain level of like vulnerability that comes with that. And something I'm really struggling with the past few days and really the past few weeks is definitely just making content, and enjoying that, like enjoying just that, just enjoying the process of making it. Because I feel like I just want the results. I'm not going to lie to you. And that's obviously not something that everybody experiences. Not everybody is out making content and that kind of stuff. Like this is a very, I won't say niche problem. I'm not gonna lie, I hate people when people complain. But again, this isn't my job for real. This is just like something that I do and like I want to be great at. Like, I get so frustrated though because there's like a part of me that's like, you should just quit then. Like, I've been making, not please, because you probably don't. I've been making YouTube videos since like my sophomore year of high school. And I've always just like been interested in like music and stuff. But like I started doing content like and actually being confident and comfortable in that my sophomore year of high school. And I would make vlogs on my YouTube channel, this YouTube channel actually. And then it was just not really doing anything. And after like a while of like stuff not working out, you just kind of move on, pivot to something else. So I stopped making YouTube videos probably like my freshman year of college. And then I started this podcast and it was doing pretty okay for like somebody who doesn't have a platform at all. Like it was doing pretty okay. And then I stopped posting regularly because stuff in my life was happening, which I discussed in season 5 premiere of this episode. And I've discussed for like a year or two now. Just stuff happens sometimes. And like I was working and then I would be full-time student, part-time job. Like I was in there. And so now it's like I'm playing catch up on like wanting to do this, but also really wanting to take other things in my life seriously. And, obviously trying to live my life and do that. But at the same time, just like living my life and like just living your life is fine. For me, though, it's like if I'm not doing the things that I'm passionate about, I'm not feeling good about my life. So, like, if I'm not writing, aka the guitar, then I'm feeling like I'm wasting my time. I'm not doing anything. If I'm making content, which I do a lot more than I write now, and it's not doing well, I feel like I'm wasting my time. And the thing is that like I totally 100% understand the element of working hard and eventually like earning the things that you get in life. Like I'm big on earning things. Like even when it comes to my job, like or my work, like I don't want to work. That's not my goal. Like my goal in life is to actually not feel like I'm working. But if I have to do something, I'm going to do it 100%. Like, so like, like it's like you go to work and then like, you're like, I work hard so that nobody can ever tell me that I didn't. And so that I feel good about it. When I slack off at work, I feel bad about it. I'm like, I could have done better and I beat myself up about that. And it's just like, I'm constantly holding myself accountable for that stuff. So like when it comes to like this, it's like I'm working hard at it. I'm giving any time that I'm not at work or not like, relaxing, and I'm not gonna lie, leisure is very important. Yeah, very important element to life that I don't think people talk about enough. Like it's okay to not do stuff. It's okay to not be productive. It's okay to those 2 days on the weekend that you don't have to work, sleeping one of the whole days or sleeping both of the whole days. Like nobody should ever be like policing the amount that you relax and take time for yourself. I just feel like I need to say that. But it's just like sometimes I'm just like, what am I working so hard for? Like I'm not getting the thing that I am striving for. And I know that things don't come easily. Like sometimes things just take time. And I try to remind myself of that. But there are days like today or weeks like the past few weeks or months where I'm like, what am I doing this for? Like, what's the point? Yeah, I do it because I enjoy it. But like, I want to be successful at it. I want to be good at it. And you don't feel good at things when you're not, like, at least for me, I don't feel good about things unless they're doing well. So like TikTok, I don't feel too great about that. It's like, yeah, I get like 20 to 30 likes on stuff, but I'm getting a lot of views and I'm not getting like the same amount of like interaction, the same amount of engagement there. Like, or even with this podcast, it was like I posted the first time I posted, or no, yeah. Was it the first? It was the second episode of this podcast I posted. I don't know why that video did well. Don't know why it was suggested to people, but it was. And then that video did good. And then I posted the one last week. Didn't really do anything. The first one I posted didn't really do anything. And it just feels like I just don't know what I'm doing. It feels like I'm just constantly running up a hill and the hill is just getting bigger. Like, I'm just like, at what point? I'm not saying like at what point does it get easier, but like at what point does this start? Like, do I get the payoff of like the hard work I'm putting in? Like, been doing this for like 6, 7 years making content, and it's like nothing. Like nothing's cracking, nothing's breaking it, and it's just like it's annoying. To like very like plainly, it's just annoying to like work hard at something and not even that I don't feel fulfillment from it, but like just not getting the results that I want, like not getting that. And then just like, it's like, okay, well, like, and it's like, people try to be motivational, like, oh, like you're doing it, you're putting yourself out there and you're, and again, that's way just being able to sit there and post and not care, like that is something I could not do 2 years ago. 2 years ago, if I was making a TikTok, I just, now I can do it with ease, but I'm looking for engagement. I'm looking for something big. It's like once you have like two videos do well or two or three videos do well, you're like, okay, well, I want that all the time. And I do. But again, I just don't want this to be something that I do forever. I think there's a very small part of me, not even very small. I think it's like a 45% of me that's like, I feel like if I do well, if like content creation starts going better, I'm going to stop doing I'm going to stop focusing on like other things that I'm passionate about. And I don't think that I don't know if I really want that to happen. And that's a lot. That's a lot. It's hard to focus on and be successful at multiple things at once, at least for me. And I'm afraid that if I sit here and put in the effort and really do everything and give everything I have, all my energy to content stuff, even though I'm basically doing that already, I'm one, not going to get the results that I'm looking for. And two, I'm going to stop like writing. Like I make zero time for that. And that's the thing I'm supposed to be doing. That's the thing that I like feel like is my whole point of being on this earth. Like, and I just really struggle with that. I need to get that off my chest. I think it also sucks that like, like I work really hard at like not necessarily making the same content that I see on my For You page, but like making content that about things that I'm interested in and they do nothing. And or like making content about stuff that everybody's talking about and then that not doing well. And it's just really frustrating. I don't really know like what else there is to say about that, but I did want to share that. Morbid way to start off this week, I'll be honest. And it doesn't get better from here. I was gonna talk about right place, wrong time or something, but I don't really know if that's something I want to talk about anymore. It could be. I just, I don't know. Life is really weird sometimes. I've been thinking a lot about I won't say many things, but I just think about my life sometimes and what I'm doing with it. And I try not to be so controlling because I'm a Christian, so it's a whole thing. Anyways, but I'm not one to push my like religion on other people or anything like that. I definitely think there's like an element of universe in there. But yeah, anyways, when I think about my life, I try not to be so controlling because I know or I'm supposed to have faith that, God is just gonna do what he does. And I think sometimes it's really hard for me. And maybe that's why a lot of people, that's why some people don't believe in religion or higher powers and stuff like that, because it's really hard sometimes to have faith in things that you can't see. I think one of the things I struggle with a lot, and this may be boring, people may click off of this, and that's okay. I think something that I really struggle with is honestly like, I won't say questioning God, but like sometimes something I really struggle with is like having that like unshakable faith that people talk about. Sometimes it gets so hard to like, and this goes with like comparing yourself to other people as well. When I was younger, I grew up a lot around, and I talk about this a lot, so I'm sorry to the white people that I grew up with. I grew up around a lot of white people, but a lot of that culture in the South is like Bible Belt. Like, yeah, we're in here and we go to church on Wednesdays, we go to church on Sundays, and we talk about it. You get invited to the church events and stuff, and it's a nice thing, I think. It would be so hard sometimes to go to church and see other people having this like unshakable, unrelenting faith in God and then comparing my relationship with him to that. Because for me, for so long, It was like, you know, like when you grow up in something, it's just like naturally you start questioning things. And I never like questioned like, oh, is God real? Like it was never that. It would just be like questioning what's next. Like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like, are we gonna talk? Are you there? I don't really know if I'm vibing with the plan right now. It was a lot of that. A lot of just like, you know, just kind of being annoying and being like, I'm rebellious and I want to go against the grain and stuff like that. And so, you know, like you go and you see a lot of other people's relationships with God are like the relationship they tell you that they have. And then it's like, oh, I want to have that. But then when your relationship doesn't look like that with him, and again, that can go for anything in your life. You know, when your relationship doesn't look like that with your significant other, doesn't like that, doesn't your relationship with a friend doesn't look like somebody else's relationship with that same friend. It's hard not to sit there and like compare and be like jealous a little bit of that. And so for a long time in there, a lot of mostly in my college time, it was like me, I'm not going to say not believing in God, but kind of like I'm trying, like I was really trying to figure it out. Like, God, I believe in you. I do. I know that you're there. I'm just struggling on the unrelenting faith part, unshakable faith. And I will say, God, he gave me some time to get it together. He did. He gave me some time to get it together. And, which is what I know a lot of people can't say, you know, that they had time to figure it out and come back to him. And it's just like when I did have that time to be kind of without God, it was like, oh, wow. It was for me. I don't want to go through life alone. That's what it was for me. That's what it is for me. So I do try to go with I'm just going with the flow. I'm just here and whatever I'm meant to learn, I hope that, you know, God is able to make that clear for me and I learn it and then I can move on to the next thing to eventually like fulfill my purpose on earth. And so, yeah, in talking about that, I can totally 1000% understand why some people aren't into religion or because like the way that like Christianity is framed or talked about by other people is honestly not great. I'll be honest. I feel like it's something that you have to define for yourself. And I feel like that way about a lot of life. I feel like anybody can talk about any element, any concept, any thought or idea on life or things that happen in life. But at the end of the day, you have to be the person who defines what that is for you. Like the same way that like you have to define what success is for you. My version of success looks very different from, I don't know, Beyonce's definition of success, you know, or my dad's version of success or a professor's or my boss's version of success. Like everything in life you kind of have to go and define for yourself. Like that's kind of like the point of life and living. At least that's what it is for me. Like I think the whole point is for you to be here, figure out what you want it to mean, figure out what you're supposed to be doing, what the purpose what your purpose is here, and then, you know, work on doing that. For me, a big part of my thing is like wanting to be a good person. Wanting to be a good person, and then just wanting to make music, you know, wanting to connect with other people, wanting to entertain people, stuff like that. And I think about like the things that I'm good at and how that's supposed to help me get there. Sorry, I cracked my finger in the mic. Sorry. So like for me, like I enjoy talking to people. Like I can talk. I'm very conversationally funny. I can usually read people pretty well. I will honestly spill my guts out to not anybody willing to listen. That was a lot. But like, you know, like I'm a fairly open person and I feel like I can get other people to open up, and stuff like that. And so like, that's my thing of like how I connect with people right now in this version or aspect of my life. And so, you know, for me, that just connects to my purpose in life. I think, yeah. And so sometimes, again, I question those things of like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, what am I here for? There are really hard days when I forget that that's the point. Like, I was just talking about things that I'm good at, I think. Or yeah, like elements to my personality that are supposed to set me up for my purpose in life. So one of the things, like I said, I just want to be a good person. And again, being a good person, that what does that mean really? I just want to be somebody, like, I have an idea of like how I want other people to not just think of me, but how I want to be so that other people think of me that way. So like, I want to be seen as like an honest person. I want to be seen as loyal, as somebody who's caring, personable, I think would be a good word. Um, you know, Intelligent, kind. I feel like kindness is that's like something people don't really think about a lot, but I want to be kind. And then, I just want to be, I won't say like happy, because like saying being happy, that's such an up and down thing. I would like to be at peace for many days of my life. I know you can't always have peace or serenity or whatever, but I would like to be at peace with who I am and accept myself for everything that I am, everything that I'm becoming, stuff like that. So, growing up, and I feel like maybe other people hear these things. I don't know. I'm just going to share my experience. And if you've been through it, you can share in the comments, stuff like that. But, growing up, like, people have always just told me, like, I just know you're going to do big things. Like, I just know you're going to be great. And like, that is so encouraging, because I'm so grateful to the people who were able to believe in me and give me and instill confidence in me when I couldn't. Like, when I was younger, I had very low self-esteem, like no confidence. And, like, sometimes it means the world to hear like a teacher tell you, like, I know that you can do this. You just have to believe in yourself. And I feel like that has just been such a big part of my life. Like, like when you just hear stuff over and over and over again, it doesn't really start clicking until like later on. That's one for me. Believing in myself, and then just going out there and doing it and having confidence that what I did was enough. And then like, yeah, just that. And then there's like people who, like, a lot of my teachers just, like, I just know you're going to do great. Like, you're going to be big. Like, you're just going to go. And, like, even hearing that from, like, classmates, like, I know you're going to do big stuff, and can't wait to see what you do, And that is, like, again, so necessary. And, again, so grateful for, like, people believing in me before I was able to do that myself. And I feel like college was a very big part of that. Like, a lot of college is like self-motivation of like, oof, like, like, there are a lot of other like external factors that play into that, obviously. But a lot of that is just like, can you do it? Like, do you believe in yourself to finish something? Like, do you have enough like discipline to complete this? And, if you have like certain qualities and things in your life, the external factors were kind enough to you for you to finish, that's great. Sometimes they're not kind to everybody. Doesn't mean that you don't have discipline. Doesn't mean that you're a quitter or that you're not enough or anything like that. It just, like, that thing didn't work out. But it's really important to like, get back up and figure something else out, find another avenue, another way to get to where you want to be, where you need to be, whatever. Wow. Anyways, that was off topic. But so like for me now, it's like I go back and I think about those interactions. I think about, those conversations that I've had with past teachers, or like people who are like older in my life, who have like, given me words of wisdom and stuff like that. And I kind of just like think like sometimes the shoes feel a little big to put on, you know. Sometimes the pants are a little too big to step into, I think. I don't really know what that means. I don't know if that means that like I'm just not ready for that yet, or what, but it makes me a little anxious like every single day to like know that there are people out there who believe in me and want to see me do big things, or maybe they don't even remember they said that to me. I remember, and I just haven't done it yet. And I'm just like, dang, like, what's the time limit on this? I feel like that's another thing I struggle with is like, not even thinking that I'm old, but like, you know, there's kind of like a certain age range of like, I won't say people who make music, but like a lot of like the popular people, they're like in their like mid to late 20s or early 20s, or, and I just feel like I feel like there's a very limited window for me to get in there and do stuff. And that makes me so anxious to like drive and really push all the time. But when I'm driving and pushing, like I'm forcing the issue. We talked about this on a different episode. Like I play a lot of 2K and I watch a lot of basketball, and sometimes there are players who they're just not in rhythm, can't knock down shots, and it's just because they're forcing the issue. And then it's like when you're not knocking down the shots, then you're just forcing it. You're just like, I have to make it, I have to do it, I have to do it. And then you lose because you forced it. Like that's why I try so hard to go with the flow and not try to take everything into my hands, because like at the end of the day, that's not going to do anything. Like, and it's really so hard because I'm like, what's meant to happen is going to happen. You know, sometimes you just have to be patient. And I have terrible patience. And that's something that I have to work on and that I have been working on. But it's so hard when like, you know, like you just have dreams and you have goals and you have things that you want to do and you're working hard to do them. And it's just not your time yet. It's just not your time. So you have to sit there and wait. And while you're waiting, it's like while you're waiting, you're supposed to be, you know, working on your craft, honing in on doing XYZ. And I don't know. I just need to be patient, but it gets so hard to be patient. But yeah, anywho, speaking about right place, right time, boy, do I have a story. I feel like, and I feel like these things happen in my life so that I can kind of get a understanding on, again, things in my life that I'm ignoring. So, for example, there was this delivery man. He came here to deliver a package for me. I ordered something for a Christmas gift, and I was sitting in my room like a day ago. It was like midnight, and I was playing 2K and watching a podcast on YouTube. And I hear I get an email on my phone, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, they said my package is delivered. And I was like, oh, wow, it's really late to be delivering packages, but you know, whatever. It's Christmas time. Like, that makes sense. So, like, I want to say like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, like 5 minutes after that, somebody's just laying into this doorbell. And my mom, like, gets off late. So I was like, I'll just wait until you know, I'm staying up to make sure she gets home in time and, you know, safely and stuff. So, like, I'll just go get the package then. So, like, you know, most people just, like, the delivery people just leave it in the mailbox or, like, leave it on your doorstep or whatever, and then they're gone. So, you know, a couple minutes, like 5 minutes after I get that email, somebody's ringing the doorbell. And I live in, like, the country, so, and there's no street lights on my street. Like, we just really in the woods, really. And so I was like, the person's still ringing the doorbell, and so my dad's asleep, and I was like, hey, like, are you hearing this doorbell? There's somebody at the door. And my dad gets up and he's like, and the guy is like, he has broken English, but he's like, I have a delivery for you, but I need help. So my dad opens up the door and he's like, hey, yeah, like, what's up? And we're a late family. Like, my grandma, she stays up late all hours of the night. My mom doesn't sleep well at night, so she's up all hours of the night. I'm just up all the time. I'm a night person. My sister's a night person. We're all just night people. If you don't have to go to work in my family, you're up past midnight. Like, you're just up. So, the guy goes, my dad's like, oh, like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, like, I locked my phone and my keys in my car, and, I can't get them out. And my dad was like, okay, yeah, like, I'll get dressed and I'll be out to help you in a minute. So, he gets dressed and he goes outside, and I'm like watching from the window, make sure my dad don't get snatched up, just in case, got call 911, you know what I'm saying? And so, my dad, not ironically, but like, he has like locksmith equipment because between him, me, and my sister, we've locked our keys in the car like 6 to 7 times over the past year. And once you pay a locksmith like $60 to $80 a couple of times to come get your keys out of the car, and mind you, they'll do it in like under 3 minutes. So like, once you do, you just have to go and get your own equipment for that at that point. Like, you can't keep letting the locksmith scheme you. You just got to do it yourself, bro. So, he goes out there and he like unlocks the guy's door, and then he comes, and then yeah, and then the guy's gone. So then, like, later, my dad called me, like, after he came inside, and he was like, that is, like, it seems a little dangerous to be, like, ringing on people's doorbells for, like, packages at, like, midnight, right? I was like, yeah, definitely yes, because I'm going to be really honest. Had that man knocked on anybody else's door, rang anybody else's doorbell at, like, midnight, the people, one, they probably would have been livid, first of all. Secondly, he probably would have been shot. I'll be really honest. We would have heard about that man on the news because, like, it's shoot first, ask questions later around here, okay? And I was like, wow, like, my mom had like said this, or like, yeah, I was talking to my dad and I was like, yeah, like, that was crazy, but it's a good thing, like, it was us though. Like, it was like that was definitely supposed to happen here though, because I was awake, one, and two, like, my dad has locksmith stuff, and it took him like 5 minutes, and he was not even five, like 5 minutes or whatever, and the guy was gone, back in his car and gone. And later on, like, my mom, like, the next day, I had told her about it last night, and then me and my sister were talking to her, and she was like, yeah, like, it's just by the grace of God that happened here. Like, that man, like, ooh, he's lucky. And he definitely is. And so, like, in that story, my mom said it, my dad said it, I thought it, like, that was just right place, right time. Like, that was meant to happen there. And I feel like it was definitely like reassuring and something that I needed to hear. Like, even though like the voice in my head is like super loud and is like, quit, give up, stop. That's just me fighting my own demons, yes. But it's also like, I feel like it's so important sometimes to listen to, the lessons in your life around you. And so that's happened multiple times to me. Like, like, you need to learn a lesson, and then it's like right there in your face and you get the message. And like, for me, that was just a reminder that, like, you're always exactly where you're supposed to be. You always end up where you're supposed to be, even when you feel like you're behind, or when you feel like, like, when you're comparing your life to other people, like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be all of the time for the most part. Anything that happens to you, like, I think about that a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those movies or like TV shows where like, people will like, oh, like a freak accident will happen. Like, I don't know, like, maybe you fell down the steps but on your way down them before you were going to work, and then I don't know, maybe that like took you a couple minutes to gather yourself, like 5 minutes, and you finally get out to your car and you go down the street, and there's like an accident or something, and it's like, oh wow, that probably would have been me had I been here 5 minutes earlier. If I hadn't fallen down the steps, that could have been me in this bad accident, or that could have been me XYZ. And so I think about that often. And so like, that's just like, I don't know what the point of me saying that was, but I think about that a lot. Like, because I do question what I'm doing in my life. I do question where I'm going. I feel like everybody does that. And it's just like very sometimes you just need a reminder that you're right exactly where you're supposed to be. It's really easy to get caught up in like, again, I'll say all of this and then it's like I'm the one of the biggest proponents of being able to give somebody advice and not being able to take it. That's what makes me sick. But it's like, like I am definitely somebody who does that. I'm a person who goes on the internet and I see people that I went to high school with getting married or, having kids, starting families. And I'm not even anywhere remotely near doing that. A lot of my friends are dating and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't have that. Like, I've never had anybody show interest in me before. Well, let me not do too much. Reciprocated interest. And then it's like, these people are my age and they're doing this. Or like, it's easy to go on social media, like TikTok, and like seeing people your age doing this, or even like, seeing celebrities have all this money at a certain age and having all these things. And, like, it's like you look at yourself and you're like, in comparison, yeah, you're probably not doing the things that they're doing, but that's okay. Like, that's just not everybody's role. Like, that's just not your path right now. Like, and it's, again, I can say this to you right now and I will post this episode and be like, yeah, but it's so hard to remember that every single day. Like I've said before, like you can have like the best mindset in the world and just still not believe in yourself some days. Like you just hit bumps in the road, like, but that's just like the point. And that's what's so annoying about life. Like the whole point of life is really just for you to just go out there and learn. You're like really, when you think about it, everybody in the world is just like a newborn baby. We're all just here living, trying to figure it out. And the comparison thing, it is a thief to joy. It is. But again, sometimes I just have to think to myself, like, what are the like 2 to 3 things I'm grateful for? And then just take that for what it is. Like I was telling the kids that I teach, counsel, whatever you want to call it. I was telling them the other day, because we were talking about, what were we talking about? Wow. It is crazy how I lose the topics. I'm so tired. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm so sleepy. I was talking to the kids about something. And I was just like telling them, we were talking about gratitude. That's what it was. And I was kind of talking about life. And like, no matter where you're at in life, no matter how much money you have, you're just going to hit some bumps in the road, And I think about that a lot, that like life is never just going to be like a calm sea type thing. Like how you handle things is something that can change and constantly evolve. But like nothing's ever going to stop life from happening. Like at some point, like I say this often, but like sometimes you have really bad days. You just do. And sometimes the bad days may last weeks, may last months. Like it can just be a month worth of bad days. Like you just can't win. And then at some point, like you just have to really look at life as like everything is just going to balance out. Like at the end of the day, like when you think about that, I think that's like one of the only things that gets me through my life sometimes is just realizing that like the scales are going to balance out. Like I'm not saying you're always going to have, like, you're going to have the same amount of bad days as good days. I'm not saying you're going to have the same amount of good days as bad days. It's just like those good days, they're going to make the bad ones worth it. And it's never going to feel like that. it's never going to feel like that when it's bad. Like, it's never going to, because when it's bad, it's usually bad. Like when it's bad, you've never seen that version of bad before. You've never seen that level of bad before. And then you have like good days. And then again, you have like little bad moments in there of like Like I remember the beginning of this year, which I'm trying to save until the end of the year for the New Year's episode. Or for the final year episode or whatever, final episode of season 5. But I was in just a really bad place. Like terrible place. This time last year and like the beginning of this year was some of the worst months of my life. Like emotionally, mentally, and those were dark days for me. Like I was contemplating, like I was like, what is the point of life? Like I was looking up at the sky in tears, just breaking, just crying because I just didn't know what the point was. I was like, I don't know what the point of any of this is. I was down. I was down, and we'll talk about that more in the final episode. But not saying that like life is perfect or great now, but I'm really working hard on how I react to the hard times or the bad things in life. Like trying really hard. And it can be tough. So like right now I'm struggling with this. It's still not as bad as where I was at in January. I'm still up better than I was, and I'm still just I'm just here. Like, like I'm taking it for what it is, and I'm trying to go with the flow and not be so controlling and letting life happen and trying to learn the things that I need to learn in this moment. Um and a lot of that lately has been like advocating for other people and understanding the importance of that. I don't really know, again, the things that I'm learning. I don't really know how that connects to the things in the future, but I know that I'll be ready for those things in the future because I'm learning and doing the things that I feel like are right and I'm supposed to be doing. Um but yeah, life is just wow. It's tough, but like I was saying, like at the end of the day, like when you have those bad stretches of time in your life, like good stuff comes, like, and again, not to be super cliche, but I'm not saying that time does heal all wounds. It does. It's just that there's no like time limit on that. It's kind of like I heard this thing, maybe like a week ago, and by Shannon Beveridge, yes, and she said like, or she has this thing where she'll talk about how one of her friends, and yeah, I was thinking it was like her and like a couple of friends or something, and this girl had just gotten like, she just broke up with her girlfriend or something, and she was like, oh my gosh, like when does this end? Like when is it over? Like when am I gonna be okay? And one of the girls was like, give it about 7 weeks. And Shannon was like, I just hated that she said that because like, there are moments when you feel healed and you feel great and life is good, and then there's like some days in there where it's bad. Like healing is not linear, and like that is so real and something that I never understood until I was in that, like in the time or in the process of healing from something. Like there are days when I still have like rough ones, never to the same extent that they were at the beginning of the year, but there are still times when I think about that time or the situation that I was in, and I'm just like, wow, like that was bad. And like sometimes I think about my life now and I'm like, wow, like it's getting a little bad. But I just really have to just try my best to just have faith. And that seems so ridiculous to say. But like I feel like if there's anything, like to me, anything that I've learned over my time when me and God were on a break, or I was on a break from God. I don't think he ever really left me. That was just mostly me fighting him a bit. Um, like I just can't do it on my own. There's no elements to life that I can do on my own. And that is the thing that I learned in that time. And I think that I needed to learn that the way that I did. And I'm glad that I got the opportunity to learn that. And it's just like, I don't want to do it alone. either. Like, I don't have to do it alone. I don't want to. I don't need to. But anyways, don't even know where I was going with that. But life is just hard sometimes, and the only thing that I can do, like the only thing that I think anybody can do is just have faith and just have hope that it's just going to be better. Like, I think when I watch like the Hunger Games or like read the Hunger Games book that I'm reading right now, I think to myself, and I'm like, people talk about like how it's important for people to have hope, but not too much or something. And for me, I'm not a pessimist. I don't think that I'm an optimist, but like there's a very big part of me. And again, I think that maybe this is naive. I really don't care. It's the thing that gets me through life. There's like a certain bit of like, I'm hopeful for the future. Like, I'm hopeful that things will get better. I'm hopeful that life will be better. I'm hopeful that things will work out. Like, nothing in my life is ever going to be perfect, obviously. But sometimes you just have to have faith in something. And it's like having faith in something a lot of times is the only thing that will get you through the hard times in life. And yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say today. I haven't had a heart to heart like that on the podcast in a while. I usually, I feel like I try really hard to like, make jokes and laugh and talk about current events and all those things. And like, that's fun for me sometimes. Like sometimes I just want to come on here and talk about celebrity gossip or drama. And that's really cool and great. But sometimes I just need to come on here and talk about my feelings and share them, even if nobody ever sees them. Maybe I'm just talking to me in the future. And if I am, girl, keep your head up. But if I'm talking to other people out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, whatever you chose to do. I really appreciate it. Again, I feel like there's this quote that's on my wall that I really think about. And it's like, well, actually I have a couple of them, but one of them that I really think about a lot is like, life is a mirror and it will come back to you. And that's why I really just try my best to be good, to be, my definition of good. I just try my best to work on me so that I can be the best version of myself, so that I can present that to other people, so I can give that to other people. And then hopefully, because I'm trying my best to be the best version of myself, I get the best version of other people as well. But I had somebody, and I talked about this, I think, in season 5. I had somebody write me a letter a while ago, and I'm sure that they don't think about this at all. But the way that people, like, words are so important to me. The way that people think and share their feelings or their thoughts or their emotions with me is so important. And like, I genuinely remember, I remember a lot of things. I remember most things that people tell me because people are important to me. So I just remember. And again, this person probably doesn't think about this at all. Probably doesn't think about me at all, which is perfectly okay. I think everybody plays a different role in people's lives than you do for others, so that's fine. But she gave me like so much wisdom in this letter, and I'm just so appreciative of that. I think this person in particular, which we will talk more about on the final episode of the year, but they just really, they did it. They did their big one, and I'm very appreciative of them for that. I hope they're doing well, honestly. Yeah, I wish them well. But yeah, they really kind of just like told me how they view me, gave me some advice for the future, and that was it. And it was really hard for that to be it, because it was like, it just meant a lot. And so it was like, wow, like this is really it. We're probably never going to cross paths again. Probably never going to see you again. This is it. And I think it was a good ending, a good finale there. And now we hope and we push for the future. We do. But yeah, I think that's everything I want to say this week. I'm trying to think of like if there's something else, which I don't think that there is. I'm gonna go out with my friends. So by the time this episode is up, I went out and I had a time. Hopefully, I'm gonna make sure I have a time because I will be drinking. Like I will be. I just I don't know. I'm really leaning into that dance vibe now. I hope I have a good time. If I don't, it is what it is, and that's okay. But I will at least be 4 shots deep before we even get there. So hopefully, and that's always like a good precursor for the night. But I'm just gonna go out there, have some fun, have no expectations on life. Just go out there and have a good time. And I hope other people, maybe you go out with your friends, or maybe if you don't have any friends, if you don't have any friends, prayers up to you, honestly. I really hope that you find some, and I hope that you find people who are good to you and care about you and want the best for you. Yeah. What else is there to say? You can follow me on social media. Everything's in my link tree in the description below. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify, you can go follow me, check it out. You can go DM me. I will read the DMs. I'm always on my phone. So, well, for the most part, let me not do too much. I am for the most part always on my phone, and I really love to hear from you. But yeah, this was really nice. I'm gonna go to sleep because it's like about to be 3 a.m. I'm going to line up this audio, schedule everything, have it ready, description, all the stuff, do what I need to do. And yeah, so again, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you did, if it's just me listening to this episode, I'm really proud of you. You're doing great work. Don't stop the grind. Keep pushing. At some point, your hard work will pay off. Don't know what the payoff will look like. Don't know what the results will look like. But got to keep pushing, got to keep grinding, and that can be for anybody. That message can be for anybody. But yeah, again, thank you so much for listening. Please come back next Saturday. It'll be up 7 a.m. all the time. I'm ready, locked in, scheduled. And again, I appreciate you so much for listening to this episode. Yeah, it's been real. Wishing you the best of luck on life. You're right where you need to be. Stop comparing yourself to others. Go out there. Believe in yourself. Be confident. Be real. Be true to you. Go out there. Be yourself. Accept you for you. And go out there and just be great. Go out there, be great, and make yourself proud. Okay? I'm going to see you guys next week. Bye.